Hello! From the most banal to those that require long training. There are many different challenges, but today you will see such difficult tests that it is almost impossible to win them. Let's go! You have a minute to collect as much money as you can carry. There is just one nuance. The bill flies around you at an unrealistically high speed. From the outside, the money booth looks like a very tempting entertainment because it seems like a very easy way to make money. But once inside, many understand that without tactics it will not be possible to win a large sum. Some stuff money into bags and pockets or just greedily grab bills. You will be surprised, but the most effective way is to simply fold your hands and not move as this guy does. They say on the internet that you can grab $240 in a minute this way. A literal illustration of the expression, "Don't chase money, and it will come to you." Would you dare to walk on such a bridge? And in China, this is quite a popular entertainment, where people challenge themselves and find themselves alone with their fear of heights. They need to cross a small bridge that is located over the abyss. The steps in it are made in such a way that in some places it is not enough to just take a step. You have to jump, and sometimes this happens. At these moments, it seems that insurance will not save you. It seems that the structure is moving not from the wind, but because of people's legs shaking with fear. It's scary to even imagine what they are experiencing. This challenge looks very tempting. Well, who wouldn't want to pay a few dollars and get a gold bar in return? But it's not that simple. The ingot will have to be taken out of the glass cube through a small hole. Everything is done in such a way that there are a few millimeters between the walls of the hole with your hand. Because of this, it is impossible to squeeze the ingot in your hands, so a piece of gold weighing about 10 kilograms must be pulled out on outstretched fingers. Sounds unrealistic, but even in this case, someone is lucky. I wonder if they pumped up their finger muscles especially for this challenge? Would you dare to bungee jump? What if I told you that the jump will be over an active volcano? This guy not only dared, but also organized an unusual trip to Chile, where he made such an amazing jump. Of course, he was aware of all the risks, but he could not help but try. The jump was made from a helicopter that was hovering in the air right above the mouth of a volcano. What's good about bungee jumping is that you only need to be brave for a second. Once you take a step, there's no turning back. But look at those bright emotions. Subtitles created by Dima Torzak. You've probably already seen a video of this thing and at least once thought, it's easy, I would definitely have stood up. But you can't even imagine how difficult it is. You can stand anywhere on a swinging bridge, and the difficulty level will depend on it. Standing in the very center, people find themselves at the point where the swing amplitude is the greatest. Although some manage to fall even from relatively easy positions, staying in the center is a real challenge. Not everyone can do it. And those who do it easily look like they've mastered some secret technique. Look, he's levitating. There's an amazing alternative to bull riding. Here your task is to hold on to a bag suspended on a rope above the water. The difficulty is that this rope is periodically pulled by several people. It looks something like this. Even adult men are thrown from the water into the air like rag dolls. Needless to say, holding onto a bag in such conditions is not easy at all. And just when people start to think that they are doing a great job, they fly straight into the water. What if we add a test of dexterity to the reaction test? You get this funny challenge. Its essence is to catch sticks that fall randomly. Surprisingly, when one-on-one with a machine gun, many realize that everything is much more complicated than it looked from the outside. You have to watch carefully which stick starts to fall, manage to catch it and hold on to it. You only have a couple of seconds to do this because then another one starts to fall. After something like this, it seems that guys like him use superpowers. Either he can slow down time or he has the agility of Spider-Man. There is an unusual option to make the game of chess even more difficult. For example, play it in an ice hole like these guys did. In such conditions, the excitement clearly increases but concentration decreases. Sitting in icy water, it is very difficult to concentrate on the pieces and thinking through the move, but they seem to be doing pretty well. It is very difficult to maintain balance on a bike, especially when you have to ride along an extremely narrow bridge. The goal of this competition is to ride from one bank to the other. It sounds easy, but the path is very narrow, and even with a slight ascent and descent. Subtitles made by Dimatorzak. By the way, its length can vary, it all depends on the width of the river. For example, at one of these competitions in Deepal, the length of the bridge was 52 meters. Subtitles made by Dimatorzak. But there was a winner there too. The guy easily covered this distance in 1 minute and 56 seconds and received a nice cash prize. Subtitles made by Dimatorzak. How did she do it? Many people ask this question and generally believe that stopping the timer is too easy. He himself shows the time. Only you need to press the button so that the timer stops at a certain time with an accuracy of 1/100th of a second. Because of anxiety, people rush or, on the contrary, wait longer than necessary. This is a challenge where everyone can test their reaction. And in some bars you can get a free drink for beating time. These platforms float perfectly on the surface, but as soon as you step on one of them, it immediately begins to sink into the water. Therefore, in order to walk along such a path and find yourself dry, you need to run very quickly, stepping into the very center of the platform. If you get a little nervous or stumble, you can immediately get ready for a swimming session. It will be simply impossible to resist. But if anyone can overcome a short distance, then only a select few manage to conquer a bridge 118 meters long. The Shaolin monk trained for a long time to cross the river on such an unusual bridge. At some point, he even almost lost his way, but nevertheless his persistence prevailed, and he successfully reached the other bank. The old tradition of St. Peter's Day has existed for almost 100 years. It's simple. People need to walk through the crowd and pick up the flag fixed at the other end. This is quite a fun entertainment, so people are eagerly gathering to take part, and look at the poor people falling into the water. The procession is so slippery that it seems as if it is impossible to stand on it, and even more so to go to the very end. So everyone is sincerely happy when at least someone succeeds. Do you think it's difficult to pull up on a horizontal bar? I'm sure the people who participated in the Tarzan challenge will argue with you. They know for sure that just hanging on a bar for 100 seconds can be much more difficult. With every second, the person's own weight starts to pull him down more and more. His hands are numb, and the shouting and feedback that should support and motivate him knocks him down and prevents him from concentrating. Yes, you have been. However, there are guys who can do it easily. Maybe it's a matter of physical training and tactics. This guy changed hands, hanging on each in turn, which turned out to be much easier than hanging on two at once. And it worked. This game lures people with its external simplicity. Everyone thinks that it is very easy to roll the ball to the hole without dropping it along the way. In fact, you will have to hang around this thing for a long time and train to finally do it. For the 10th or 20th time someone is lucky, but you need to have an innate sense of balance and high concentration to pass the challenge from the first try. I think this girl has it all. It must be one of the oldest challenges in the world. They say it was born 2 centuries ago, and there is no point in just falling from the slope. In a small village in England, a run from the top of the hill is held every year. Its uniqueness is that the participants run behind the head of the cheese, which is launched down just a second earlier. People are trying to chase after the cheese, but due to the slope of the hill they begin to stumble and fall. They accelerate so much that people whose main task is to stop the runners are waiting for them at the foot. It all looks very strange, but the participants say that it is unrealistically fun. In addition, the winner receives cheese as a gift. There are quite a few strange games and customs in the world that you've never heard of. For example, Batashi is a Japanese game that involves a total of about 150 players. They are divided into two teams. One team defends a small column, and the other one has to capture it. If the column is tilted by 30 degrees, the defense team automatically loses. The match lasts only 2 minutes, so the attacking team does everything to climb the table. Some even climb this mountain of people. Of course, any blows and rudeness are prohibited, but the game looks too intense without it, doesn't it? Thank you. You must have at least once complained about the toy machine when it suddenly released a prize that you so wanted to win. And what if you get a chance to be in the same place as the claw and take exactly as much as you can? This kind of entertainment already exists. The challenge consists in fixing a person on a strong rope and putting him on a mountain of snacks. The main task is to grab as much as possible. The participants receive their prey as a prize. While the rope brings the person back, some snails fall back. But if you are skillful and cunning, you can carry something even in your feet. Do you remember the famous bottle cap challenge? It was already quite impressive, but when the lid is opened not by a foot, but by a car, the challenge goes to another level. A level that could easily be called impossible if not for these guys. Surely this is not a debut performance. But just think what faces the driver and all the eyewitnesses had when he first unscrewed the lid with the car. Triathlon is not a challenge for everyone. Not even all athletes decide on something like this. Take for example this route in Norway. First, the participants have to swim for 3.5 kilometers along the sea, jumping into it right from the ferry, then ride a bicycle for 180 kilometers. They go through a cross-country area, where the total height of the ascent along the way is 3,000 meters. But this is not the end of the test. Next, they make a run at a distance of just over 40 kilometers, where the ascent into the mountain is included. Just imagine how exhausted the participants get to the finish line. But when you understand what you managed to do, you feel invincible. Descent on a kayak is an entertainment for real extreme skaters. This is not like sailing on a boat on a quiet lake. Here you have to be ready not just to get wet, but to fight the elements. During the kayak descent, people have to swim through places where they can't reach on a regular boat, trying to hold on to a rather turbulent stream of water. But sometimes the start of the descent is on a snowy track, and even here it's not that easy. Look, the guys use the oars to control the kayak and brake forward. It doesn't look like a quiet trip on a sled, does it? The guy came here not for the match, and he definitely doesn't work at the stadium. He came to challenge himself and ride the highest rope swing in the world. It is at the Durban Stadium. On this Tarzan, the brave men jump from a height of 88 meters to swing over the stadium. I can't even imagine how this guy had fun before, if he wanted to go for this to get an adrenaline rush. What is the most amazing challenge you have ever done? Tell us in the comments. No matter how good a driver you think you are, many of us will never reach such a level. Imagine how much you need to feel the car and its dimensions to control it so accurately. And when it comes to buses, everything becomes a dozen times more complicated. After all, it's a huge car. You need to spend quite a lot of time driving around the cones in the parking lot to learn how to drive so accurately and carefully. Knowing that such a professional is driving, I would not worry for a second even on the most dangerous road. Well, who didn't imagine Indiana Jones running away from a huge stone ball? Good news, there is a similar challenge in one of the Zorbing Park in the USA. You can make a run, while behind you on the hill with a slight slope will be driven inflatable ball with a diameter of a little more than 3 meters. The main thing is to take comfortable sneakers with you. Run fast and not stumble along the way. People love this entertainment because, unlike stone, this ball is not able to hurt a person even if you ride on it. So many people are eager to compete in speed with a big Zorb. Cornhole is a very popular game in North America. The idea of which is to throw a small bag of beans into a hole from a distance of several meters. The one who throws the bag onto the board gets 1 point, and the one who throws it at the target gets 3. Anyone can set up such a board at home and challenge themselves to hit the target the first time. Perhaps after a few training sessions you will be able to become so accurate that you will be able to participate in championships. By the way, if this game seems boring to you, take note of this way to bring even more fun into it. If you're impressed by Spider-Man's ability to climb walls, you'll love this challenge. Using special shoes and a rope, people climb wooden poles in a matter of seconds. I bet that it took them months of training to get up so confidently. It's as if they were running along an ordinary horizontal road. But if in this case their skills are protected by equipment, then this guy managed it only on his own. It was clearly much more difficult than it looked, but it was as if he had been born with such an unusual ability. I hope he didn't grab it by the nose. This is the kind of training that Royal Marine recruits undergo. Running on mud is a mandatory part of training. Just look at the conditions under which they have to test themselves to their strength. Looking at this, you realize that your office internship is not that difficult. Huh. Housey. Speaking of fighting gravity, real climbers know that their legs play the most important role in their sport. Beginners often make the mistake of thinking that the main thing is to train their arms and pull themselves up on them. As these people show, it's not like that. It's important to put emphasis on your legs and learn to push yourself up with them. This way, you can achieve incredible results and learn to climb a mountain with a very steep slope without even using your hands. Looks a bit high. That was very brave of your friend. But it's not for nothing that he throws stones into the water before jumping. During such an extreme activity, you need to be sure that the bottom is deep enough. Otherwise, you'll get into trouble. At the same time, the jumping technique itself must be special, and he does it like a true pro. Pay attention to entering the water. This is also very important for everything to go well. After all, the impact on the water when jumping from such a height can be very serious. But for guys like this, these activities are just fun. You may have seen this thing at an amusement park, but trust me, it has nothing in common with a real astronaut simulator. It spins at high speed and is designed to prevent loss of consciousness under high G-force conditions. When moving at high speed, a person can experience a drain of blood from the brain, which can cause vision problems and loss of consciousness. Such training, including being inside a centrifuge machine, helps astronauts get used to such conditions and more easily endure space flights. Vulcan boarding is fun for those who are already bored with riding on snow or waves. It is also a challenge to yourself. Riding down a volcano covered in ash and lava can be very dangerous due to the unevenness of the slope. Plus, during the descent, ash rises into the air, which can get into the eyes and respiratory tract. Therefore, it is better not to take risks and protect yourself with glasses and a mask. But it is worth it. Not everyone can say that they have slid down an active volcano on a board. One of the most interesting festivals is held in one of the cities of Japan. Every 6 years, locals cut large logs and prepare them for ceremonies. The goal is to deliver the logs to the base of an ancient temple and strengthen the foundation. But how exactly do they do it? Many young people in special traditional costumes sit on the logs and slide down the slope. As you can see, sometimes things do not go so smoothly. From the outside, everything looks too chaotic. But the locals say that it is quite an exciting spectacle and it is very cool to take part in it. There are divers who get bored of swimming in the open sea and looking at corals, and they decide to add even more difficulties to an already difficult underwater sport. Cave diving is a very interesting and dangerous activity. It allows you to see unique species that are inaccessible to others, but is very risky. In addition to the temperature difference in underwater caves, darkness and murky water, divers must always keep in mind that they will not be able to surface at any time. In order to reach oxygen on the surface, the catcher will first have to leave the cave. But for those who do not suffer from claustrophobia, this is quite cool entertainment. Subtitles by Dima Torzak. Even a dancing slot machine can become a difficult challenge. You just have to choose the most difficult level. It would seem that everything is done so that dancing is as easy as pie. There are arrows on a special platform, and the screen shows when and which one is needed. Need to step up. Yes, on easy it's really fun, but on hard it turns into a real challenge. This machine is available in many shopping centers, so you can try your hand at it. Then you will understand exactly how cool this guy really is. To be continued.